I'm back. I haven't uploaded since my Christmas video, a video which really seemed to upset this guy. I kind of feel bad. I feel like I ruined his Christmas. Either way, I'm back now, and I've been seeing this British propaganda game is the only way I can describe it. You know, I always thought my first piece of video game content would be about some weird PS3 game or something like that, but no, it's a British propaganda web thing. It's called Pathways, Navigating Gaming, the Internet, and Extremism. It was made by the British government, or at least parts of the British government, and an organization called Shoutout UK, which doesn't seem to do anything. In this game, you will be presented with scenarios that require you to take action, like hearing something hurtful while gaming, or watching a provocative video on social media. I am curious in what way those scenarios require you to take action. It's worth noting that there is a narrator, but if she reads the lines, then I'm pointless, so I'm going to be reading the lines. After the instructions, we get to choose our character, both of which have ripped pants for some reason. Anyway, when we pick our character and finally get into the game, we find that our intrepid online radicalization navigator, Charlie, has just started a new college and is happy to have made some brand new friends on that. Anyway, these new friends immediately entice him to start browsing 32chan, where he finds some slightly concerning content, like emojis. And a swear word, one swear word. Someone on this website has encouraged Charlie to download a video, but Charlie is unsure. Why doesn't he just watch the video? There's clearly a giant play button on the screen. Just watch the video. Why is the only option to download the video? Alright, well, if Charlie's not going to watch the video, then at least ask what's in it before downloading it. Charlie questioned the stranger, asking what the video was about. Charlie felt uneasy when the stranger explained that if Charlie cared about the country, they would download the video and share it with as many people as possible. Just watch the damn video. Also, why are his hands so big? Charlie wasn't sure what to say and didn't contribute anything more to the discussion, instead feeling that perhaps they had missed something on the topic. Yeah, he probably missed something on the topic because he didn't watch the video. Well, Charlie doesn't download the video, again, unnecessary, or share it because, again, he has no idea as to the contents because he is yet to watch it.
It's important to remember that downloading or streaming certain content can lead to a terrorist offence conviction.
It can? What? 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 What was in that video? Was it like a beheading video or something? What? Charlie could become, in the eyes of the British government, a terrorist for possessing what? And that's where it just ends. That's the end of the scenario. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, if you watch some stuff, you're legally a terrorist. Either way, in the next scenario, Charlie is receiving an important grade on a piece of work they submitted for their hospitality course at college. Sounds useful. Charlie put in a lot of effort for this work and is excited to receive good feedback. To their disappointment, Charlie doesn't do as well as they expected. They got 60 out of 100 for their work, but they wanted at least 75 out of 100. That's still not that high. To make matters worse, somebody got an 80 out of 100, and the teacher said this person has received a job offer. Why? Why does the teacher just announce that to the class? How does she know? Charlie has applied to dozens of jobs, but hasn't had any luck yet. You can see it. You can see it in his eyeballs. He's becoming a racist before our eyes. Somebody else in the class tells Charlie that this is proof that immigrants are coming to the UK and taking our job. That is not the kind of rhetoric I would expect from someone who looks like that. She looks more like the kind of person who would respond by offering him a crystal of some kind. Well, out of the 3 responses, only one of them allows us to actually engage with the comment, and we have to agree with it to do that.
Charlie approached the classmate angrily. He agreed with the ideas and began shouting about them in class.
Well, that's not what I selected. I love the difference between what I chose and what happened. What I chose was agree and explore the idea. What happens in the scenario here is shouts a racial slur at his classmate. The teacher let Charlie know that the school has a zero tolerance on hate speech. I don't know, lady, maybe things like this wouldn't happen if you weren't announcing people getting job offers in front of your failing students. The teacher was concerned by Charlie's outbursts and tried to get to the bottom of it. Well, you don't exactly have to be a super sleuth. Charlie became more agitated and ended up having to sit alone for the duration of the week's lessons because of the hurtful things they said. So the lesson here is to never engage with ideas, because within a matter of seconds you will be screaming slurs at the top of your lungs. In the next chapter, Charlie has been doom scrolling for hours and comes across a pretty shocking post. Charlie watches the video and learns from the video that Muslim men are stealing the places of British war veterans in emergency accommodation. In the video, they explain that the government is betraying white British people and we need to take back control of our country. How should Charlie react? Well, my number one question is that true? Because if that is true, then that should completely change how Charlie reacts. I guess find out more about the topic online. Charlie wasn't sure if this video was true, but the recent other encounters made them curious. Charlie went directly to the account's website and found research papers, statistics, information about protests, and more regarding the replacement of white people. Okay, so it is true. So it is in fact true. Are any of these research papers peer-reviewed? And do these statistics, where do they come from? They continued browsing and encountered lots of harmful groups who agree with these sentiments. Well, they're not really harmful, are they? Because you told me that what they believe is true. Or at least you didn't give me a reason to believe it wasn't true and gave me a lot of reasons to believe that it was. Charlie began intaking a lot of harmful ideological messages. In fact, some of the groups were actually illegal. But what makes them illegal? What crimes have these groups actually committed that makes them illegal groups? In the next chapter, Charlie is enjoying a family dinner at home when they receive a notification from their friend. Charlie's mum makes a comment about using phones at the dinner table, but Charlie completely brushes off that old bitch. Amelia, Charlie's close friend, has made a video encouraging young people in Bridlington to join a political group that seeks to defend English rights. Amelia encourages Charlie to join a secret group on an app that Charlie hasn't heard of before. Charlie isn't sure whether to join, explore further, or ignore. I was going to ask why would they be using a secret app when they could just use any other app? But then I remembered that apparently just watching a video deemed unsafe by the British government is a terrorism charge, so maybe they ought to be using a secret app. Either way, my initial instinct is, of course, to explore further, but that's not even an option on this one. So I just picked B. B is what I picked for most of the other ones anyway. Charlie settled for a middle ground. They didn't want their friend to think they didn't care, but they didn't know if they wanted to join the group. And then, in the dead of night, Charlie receives a message from a stranger who then forcibly adds him to an encrypted private group without Charlie's permission. How you add someone to a group chat without their permission, I don't know, and why he can't just leave said group chat is also never explained. In the next and final chapter, Charlie was seeing their dad at the weekend. I'm not sure that's proper grammar. He lives in Hull, so their weekends look very different to their weekdays in East Riding. I mean, we all know that Hull is a completely different universe than East Riding. Probably. And then Charlie's crystal friend tells him about a protest she wished she could go to herself, but she was not allowed. Amelia spoke of a gathering that had been organized by a small political group. They would come together and protest the changes that Britain has been through in the last few years, and the erosion of British values. Amelia talked about the banners and pickets that her friends had made for the events, and expressed a real regret that she could not go, begging Charlie to go in her place. Charlie has nothing to do this weekend, and a protest sounded like an interesting thing to take part in. I mean, that's not exactly the best reason to join a political movement, because you're bored. I mean, I can't say it's not accurate. Alright, well, we've already gone middle of the road so far, so why not just go middle of the road again, B? I mean, how much trouble could Charlie get in looking at a protest? But then Charlie gets there and they're all racist. Charlie grew increasingly uncomfortable as the crowd became angrier. Police arrived after a few violent outbreaks. After a few violent outbreaks? Are you sure? I mean, you guys know, historically, when, armored police officers arrive and start battling with protesters, it's because they're the good guys. Before they knew it, they were running away from the scene. Some protesters next to Charlie had drawn the attention of the police. Charlie had only been here to observe, but the line between observing and participating was too easy to cross. That's right, guys. Never witness a protest lest you instantly become racist. If you ever see someone marching for a cause, close your eyes and plug your ears, or you could become one of them. Also, you might get punched in the head by a police officer. Just don't worry about that bit. And now we get to see the results of our actions, how they affected Charlie. Some of their choices had led to changes in friendship. No, they didn't. None of their choices led to changes in any friendship. Unless that girl he yelled a slur at was his friend. Then that probably changed that friendship. The teacher had noticed this and decided to reach out. That old bag does not look like the kind of woman you want reaching out. She looks more like a finger-wagging bitch than anyone interested in helping. The teacher reassured that Charlie had made the right decisions. Charlie realized that if they had chosen to engage with these harmful ideas, the consequences would have been very different. Like a terrorism charge or something like that. Click to find out what support Charlie could have received if they had chosen to engage with socially dangerous harmful ideologies is what I was saying. Charlie accepted they may need support, and the font changed too for some reason. Charlie's teacher made a prevent referral, and they were able to provide tailored support for Charlie. You may be wondering, what is a prevent referral? Well, they decide that Charlie is at borderline risk of radicalization, and they put him through various struggle sessions. He starts a band. I don't know if that's related to the prevent referral or if that's just something unrelated they put in there to make it seem less like a punishment. He becomes friends with that lady that he yelled a slur at earlier. Prevent is a program that was set up in response to 9/11. The overarching aim of Prevent is to stop violent extremism from happening within our communities. Right, but 9/11 didn't happen because of some vulnerable youths in local communities. They were done by a radical terror group based out of Afghanistan. So I don't think there was much that the Prevent program could have done to stop that. It acknowledges that underlying issues and vulnerabilities play a role in extreme ideas and behaviors and wants to reduce the factors that push someone towards extremism. Yeah, I'm sure that all Vlado Chernozemski needed was support from a mental health professional. So essentially it's just a punishment for being what the government considers too radical. Sorry, it's not a punishment. Prevent will only come into contact with someone if they receive a referral either from them directly or from someone who has concerns. So they'll only, come into contact with you if one of your friends, family, or community members rats on you to the internet Gestapo. Look, there she is, exactly like I said. Fucking Karen-ass bitch, I knew it. This video goes on for so long. It's like almost the length of the entire game. And they just keep repeating themselves over and over again. And then it ends on a fade to white that doesn't quite make it all the way. Alright, well that was just one of the 3 endings that you can get in this interactive learning, relearning experience. We gotta go for the other 2 endings. It's also worth mentioning that if you click through this game too fast, it actually loads. It lags, and you have to wait for it to load. I guess the generic corporate art style is too much for their British servers to load. Alright, well what happens if I go all bad boy? I make a complete villain. Alright baby, let's download the video. Charlie wanted to continue being a part of their new online community. Charlie downloaded the video and shared it with different people online. Charlie felt relieved and happy that people were liking the video and also sharing it. Deep down, Charlie wasn't sure if this was the right thing to do, as some of the ideas in the video were extreme and violent. But what ideas exactly? They never specify. Alright, we already know what happens if we decide to explore this idea further. We immediately become a racist. In the last time we did this one, we established that this video is true. This video is telling the truth, at least according to every source that Charlie saw. Charlie couldn't believe what they were seeing. Charlie immediately began typing comments and sharing the video with their friends and family, wondering what they could do to stop this. As the likes, comments, and shares came in, they felt they had performed a patriotic service by standing up for veterans and white people's rights. Unfortunately, Charlie didn't realize that some of the groups they were engaging with online were actually illegal. We are, again, not given a specific crime that has been committed. I guess the posting, that's the crime. All right, what happens if we join the evil underground Reddit Illuminati that our friend invited us to? Charlie thought the video their friend posted was so funny. They couldn't believe how many likes Amelia's memes were getting. It was inspiring. Nope, you see, those memes are illegal. They're actually terrorist activity. Charlie joined the secret group on this new platform. Their phone wouldn't stop buzzing with messages of support and invitations to participate in several similar groups. Charlie's mom, who I just realized is his teacher with brown hair, was not so pleased and grew suspicious of all this new activity their child seemed to be involved with. Alright, what happens if we go in there as a full-on protester, which we kind of already did. They said that the line between observing and participating was easily crossed or some shit like that. Charlie decided this would be a good use of their time considering all the things they had seen and heard over the last few weeks. And look at him, he's evil now. He's like furrowing his brow. He's evil. He's nasty. It would be good to express their feelings about it with like-minded individuals. Fucking animals. It never gets easier. Charlie arrived at the protest and was swept up by the atmosphere. It was great to see so many people there. Everything was going well until Charlie almost became involved in a fight by accident. Again, this kind of just looks like two armored police officers coming up behind him and hassling him. The police saw he was part of a group and took their details. Details for what? What crime did they commit? Well, you got a license for thinking that thought in your own head? Charlie was frightened by this, not knowing if their parents would be informed. Alright, well this bit is the same. I think no matter what you do, this bit is the same. Same Karen-ass looking teacher coming over to you, same mismatched font, same being referred to prevent. Charlie was referred to prevent and channel. Charlie was assigned a mentor to help them one-to-one, someone who had been in their shoes. He was reluctant at first, but gradually warmed to their mentor, forming trust with them, having heard and understood the similarities between them. I fucking hate this guy, holy shit. The mentor was honest about the dangers of following a harmful ideology, and the message resonated with Charlie. Cool, this guy's been assigned his own personal truth commissar. With all these gentler interventions, Charlie was able to rebuild their confidence, find their identity, and continue their college course successfully. Are they trying to make it sound as dystopian as possible? Alright, well, what happens when this game's relentless finger-wagging finally wears you down enough to get the good boy ending? In this game, the correct answer when encountering an idea you don't like online is to inform an adult. Charlie went and spoke to their mom about some of the concerning content online. Isn't this guy meant to be a teenager? Why is he telling his mom about shit he saw online? Charlie's mom listened to their concerns and tried her best to answer Charlie's questions about what they had heard. Charlie learned that some people hold socially extreme beliefs, that's what it is, and express them in hurtful ways, like saying them out loud, which should be banned, sometimes encouraging others to do the same and get involved. Charlie was relieved they did not download the unknown video, as they did not know what the consequences of doing so could be. I mean, you could get an idea of what the consequences of doing so would be if you just watched the video. Again, there is a massive play button that they are showing us right there. So no clue as to why he couldn't watch the video to find out what was inside, but apparently what was inside could lead to terrorist charges. So I guess it's good he didn't watch it either, because that would make him a terrorist. Alright, well, let's ignore our friend and ask our teacher how we can do better in this imaginary course that we're in. Charlie was still upset by the end of the lesson. I like how when Charlie gets to the point that he's supposed to be at, they just freeze him mid-step. They couldn't get past the thought that their classmate had received a job offer, but they hadn't. Charlie spoke with their teacher after the lesson, and they learned why their grade had not been high, and how to improve. The teacher listened to Charlie's frustrations about not having any job offers yet, and booked in a time to help with some new job applications. Now for doom scrolling, Charlie. Let's skip past the video and just pretend like we didn't see it. Charlie wasn't sure whether they should engage with the video. Did he just report the video? They carried on scrolling, and to their surprise, the next video showed a veteran and a dog moving into their new home that had been provided as a community initiative. Alright, completely anecdotal evidence that supports my preconceived beliefs. Awesome! They were also relieved that they didn't share the first video, as they learned that the information was not accurate. Is that really the best they can do? For the one that is supposed to be bad, they have stats, they have evidence, they have research papers that presumably come from somewhere. Whether or not they're accurate, they never say, but at least they have all that. This is just completely anecdotal. It's like, well, I saw one phone video of a veteran saying that he actually lived in a house, so, that completely negates any statistics you might have. Alright, let's ignore our friend's video. Charlie didn't feel comfortable with joining a secret group or encouraging people to join a political group. They felt it was down to the individual to decide for themselves. Well, that's kind of the point of a political group, is to encourage people to believe what you believe. Look, and now he's having a nice family dinner instead of an angry family dinner. Do you see what doing the right thing is what I was saying? Doing the right thing. Right. Do you see what doing the right thing gets you? What is going on with me today? They carried on with the family dinner and went to bed early, knowing college was coming up the next day. And they weren't even in the dead of night, kidnapped and forced to join a group chat. Charlie was looking forward to talking about the video their friend made, but seeing their friend that morning didn't go as planned. When morning came, Charlie was ignored by their friend for ignoring her post the day before and not having strong enough beliefs to associate with them anymore. Because you know how essentially high schoolers have a strict friend group of people who have a strong enough belief to associate with them. So even though in the previous scenario, this girl just said that we don't have strong enough beliefs to associate with her anymore, she has come over to our house and wants us to go to a protest. Alright, well, let's cast this bitch aside. Charlie didn't feel comfortable with going to the protest. It sounded risky, and they were meant to be there to see their dad. Charlie was really upset when Amelia told them they couldn't be friends anymore. They didn't share the same values. I'm not exactly, the most social guy. Do teenagers exist in this, value-based ecosystem of friendship, where if you share identical values, you can associate? Or is that just something middle-aged Karens think people do? Charlie began walking home, thinking about whether they had made the right decision. Charlie's phone started ringing. They didn't really feel like talking. It was their dad, and they were enthusiastically talking about the plans for the weekend. Suddenly, Charlie was reassured about their decision. Alright, well, let's see what the good boy ending looks like. So the last sequence is exactly the same. The teacher still refers him to Prevent, even though in her own standard, he didn't do anything wrong. I guess having been close to it, he needs to be cleansed. But there is no ending cutscene after that. There is no follow-up on what happened to Charlie. I think this is quite possibly the most embarrassingly out-of-touch thing maybe ever made, honestly. Anyway, I gotta go. I haven't slept in over 24 hours, and I still need to edit this video.